Welcome, everybody, to the Paradise Center for the Arts Virtual Artist Talk. We're so excited you could be here tonight. I'm going to get the slideshow going. We are going to be featuring the work of William Bukowski, Schlie, the Bethlehem Academy student artists, and the emerging artists. And we are excited to have several people with us tonight, so we are going to get started. Unfortunately, I am not seeing Bill Bukowski or William Bukowski. I hope he joins us soon, but we will get started and hopefully he will join us. Oh, there he is. And the Paradise Center for the Arts, for those of you who don't know, we are located in downtown historic Faribault. We have 4 on-site galleries, a 300-seat auditorium, classroom spaces, and lots happening. So come down and see us. The current exhibits, the artists we're talking to tonight, their artwork will be up through November 13th. Our current hours are Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, noon to 5. Saturday, we're open 10 to 2. And I'm not sure what happened. I saw Bill come in and now I am not.
I'm here.
Oh, there you are. Yay. Welcome, Bill.
Thank you. Now, will I see my picture or should I just start?
Do you see the screen? We're sharing the gallery.
Yeah, I see the screen. Yep.
Okay, but you don't see us? There's a,
I do see you too.
Okay. Yep, I've got a little grid on my computer here. I see 6 people right now. I don't think that's all I can do. Okay, Bill, tell us a little bit about yourself and the current work you have at the Paradise.
Okay, I'm Bill Bukowski. I am a longtime painter. I think I've been painting actually for 48 years. Also taught at the college level at Bethlehem Lutheran College for 40 years and 1 year out in Greenville, Pennsylvania. I do a variety of work, but this show focuses on landscape. And the landscapes are primarily Minnesota based and mostly Mankato. Just because part of my philosophy as an artist is to experience the subject. And so what I want to do is see a view that I feel sort of connected to or interested in, and then I want to try to express that connection in the painting. I have been influenced quite a bit by plein air painters, the French Impressionists, and a work like this one, for instance, called The Yard. I literally set my easel up in the front or the side yard at my house in Mankato. And when I started, there weren't that many leaves down. And when I finished, there were probably a few more. But what's really interesting about it to me is, well, not only the palette being completely tan, gold, yellow, and white, but leaves fall in a really peculiarly geometric way, so that when you're watching them fall or when you see them fall, there's a pattern. Like they're not as random as you think. And as you're painting, you can catch some of it, you can see it. But then, the wind comes up and it's disturbed. But anyway, I'm trying to show that kind of season, the fall season, and the changes, but also kind of the spectacular color that you might see in the yard right at your own house. I know it's strictly a Midwestern thing. This one, which I called August, I had another title for it in a show. It was called The Finished Unfinished, but that was more about a career and about a painter's vocation. But this one is from Sibley Park, and I set up an easel right off the side, and this is a flower garden park in Mankato. I mean, it's not a flower garden park, it's a community park with a flower bed. And I found it by accident. I had never painted there for the first 23 years I was in Mankato. I never even saw it. But one day I just drove up, got out and started painting and try to do at least one painting a summer from this flower park. I like the flowers because you get a little bit more color, sort of experimental color in a way to play with. And green is always tricky, but if you can splash it with some pinks or with some golds or yellows, it kind of, I think, helps. It makes it more interesting. I want to invite you into the park by painting a path like this. I like the shadows on the path, and then it curves in, so it's asking you to take a walk into the park. I've done many of these paintings, and for this one, we had a family cabin, and I know that's a thing for a lot of Midwesterners, Minnesota, Wisconsin. And for many years, we had a family cabin to go to, and this was one of the last falls at that family cabin. Beautiful fall colors, a little bit later now, more into the rusts. But I love the shadows. I like the perspective on the lake shore and the shadows raking across the large trees. There's a lot of color in this. And one of the nice things about the Paradise Center is the lighting, and the gallery is really nice. So it brings out the colors in paintings like this, where if the light is too low, you just miss a lot, especially in the foreground. But there's a lot of purples and crimsons that are featured in this painting that I think are, come off pretty well, I guess I would say. And this one is another one. It's part of my own experience. It's Main Street. It's actually my yard. I to the right of that birch tree is where I did the yard painting too. But I love the perspective. I like there's something beautiful about snow, even though most of us cringe if we have to shovel it or drive through it. But just to look at it, there's a beauty to the shadows, the blues, and I really enjoyed working on this piece. I saw it until the snow melted, but I actually worked on it more inside because you kind of freeze outside on some of these. So I do work from memory, experience, and occasionally a digital photograph to help me. But I do like this one a lot too. I get interested in the branches on all these pictures, the details of the branches, if you kind of look at them all together. This one is a recent one from the flower garden, and it's called Sibley Park number 17 because for 17 years now, I've been painting at that park at least once a year, and sometimes multiple, sometimes 4 or 5. But because Minnesota only has peak flower time for a very short period, I tend to paint there late July and early August because that's really the peak. If you try too early, there's nothing. If you try too late, it's just depressing. Those leaves get all brown, and it's like you're painting the death scene of all these flowers. So it's kind of a downer. But I do really enjoy the bright, and I tend to work in the morning. I like the light in the morning, not as brutal for the painter in the afternoon. Sometimes the humidity, because this one was done all on location. It was all done plein air right from the site. And I think that adds an interest to me anyway, and hopefully to the viewer. But if you look like in the upper part, all those little branches, I really get into that for some reason. I like the rhythm and the complexity of nature rather than, I don't really invent, I'm just sort of transcribing it. And I liked, recently I heard of a way of describing art as a window into transcendence. And I really love that kind of definition of art because it is a picture of this, but it's more. There's more to it than that. There's air, there's light, there's a complicated composition as well as a structure. And so it transcends just a mere sort of photograph of it or a mere depiction of it that you're a slave to that because it's part of your experience. It's part of the excitement of air and space and light that you're trying to convey in the painting. Does that work?
Yes, that's wonderful, Bill. And on the left-hand side of the painting too, even in some of the flowers, I can see the repetition and the patterns that nature creates.
Yeah, and there, when you can tap into that rhythm, it really is exciting. It's really interesting to look at, and it's really exciting because it sort of, it identifies itself, and you can see it, and then it flows throughout the painting. It makes painting any scene really interesting. It just depends on where you stop and look.
And you don't only do landscapes. You were telling me about the commissions you've had at the church. Is that in Waterville?
Yes, I do figurative commissions. I do, lately I've been doing Christian paintings. I have a series at Trinity Lutheran in Waterville. I've done 8 paintings from the life of Christ, starting with a large Last Supper. And these are particularly challenging because you have sort of the public notion of what they should look like. And then you want to try to show them in a way that they could experience it. So you want to have them realistic to the point where they feel like they're in the picture. And yet they're not photographs. They're not documentaries. They're like a symbol, a belief system that you're creating symbols for. So it's really challenging, but I do like figurative work. I have done portraits all along and other figurative paintings. And so to do religious commissions, I also have some at Bethany College in the chapel and in the science building, and also at Resurrection Lutheran, Christ Chapel at Gustavus. And I have an altarpiece out in Portland at Reformation Lutheran Church.
Wow.
There's one in Madison too at Grace Lutheran. So I've been doing these for a while. I think an artist should be versatile. And so I've never thought I couldn't do it. I know that's awkwardly put, but that's kind of the way I am.
Well, thank you, Bill. And thank you for talking about your work. And at the end of the slideshow, after everybody spoke, we'll do a quick Q&A if you can stay on for a little bit.
Yep,
okay. Well, awesome. Thank you, Bill. And I highly recommend coming to see Bill's work. It is so much better in person. And just for full disclosure, I took these photos in the gallery. So they're probably not quite as brilliant if you come and see them in live. So please come and see them at the Paradise. And if you can't make it to the Paradise during open hours, call us or email me and set up an appointment, and we can do a private showing, because I know not everybody is available during our open hours. Well, thank you, Bill. Next, we're going to move on to Jay Schlie. And Jay is in our Vranish Boardroom Gallery, and he has some unique photography. And Jay, can you tell us about your show?
Well, first off, I just wanted to say thanks, but I also can't see anything on the slideshow. I'm
really
just on the first, all I see is the first slide of William's work, which is excellent.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, we're on yours. I'm not sure how to, yikes. I've never had this problem before. While we're looking at the room, oh my goodness. I'm sorry, you can't see this one either?
No.
Oh, I'm not sure. I've never had this technical difficulty before. Does everybody else see Jay's work here? Tree and Arches?
I can see it. I see this work.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry, Jay. I guess I'll tell you which slides I have. I'm so sorry.
Okay, that's no problem.
I'm not a techie person, but we have Tree and Arches is the first one, and it is the one that is mounted on the wood. So if you could tell us maybe about the process or how you started doing these pieces that you're mounting on the wood.
Yeah, so I've been in photography forever. Since I was a little kid, I was really into photography. And way back, I was very excited about taking photos and then coming back a week or two later to see if it had turned out, because I was, getting photos developed. So I really liked that process. And I, in high school and whatnot, I kind of learned how to make my own photos. everything turns digital. I'm taking thousands upon thousands of photos, but not really doing anything with them, other than a few going on websites here and there, and just for my own personal enjoyment. And I've kind of always also worked with wood. And so basically kind of the idea struck me of, well, can I figure out a way to get my photos on wood? And I kind of started that process and working through and figuring that out. I kind of found it to be pretty interesting and fun. I had taken some of my photos previously and, done canvas photos and things like that, mostly just for friends and family that would see a photo and would like the photo and say, hey, can I get that on a canvas? And I'm like, sure. So I'd do it that way. But I just kind of wanted to make it more my own. And so working with wood, I kind of figured out a process where I could break the wood and get the photo on, and then use some art resin and really kind of meld the two together. And it was in that process that I kind of discovered more of taking the photos and then lining it up with the wood grain. And as you see kind of in Arches, and I'm going by memory because I can't actually see it right now,
All
but
right.
up in the kind of right area, the tree is off on the right side, and then up in the top area, you really see kind of the wood grain pop through there. And in some of my other pieces, I started to see the wood grain come through. And then I realized, well, if I have photos that have negative space or open skies or different areas like that, it's going to work pretty good if I can kind of find the wood grain, visualizing in my mind, like, how is the wood grain going to interconnect with this photo? And so that was really kind of where things kicked off. And then it's just kind of been building from there. So a lot of the process I kind of figured out along the way, but once I got the process for like the photo Tree and Arches, then it was really, I was looking at the wood more than I was looking at the photo. And so I was trying to find that piece of wood that had wood grain that would go a certain direction or would fill a certain empty space or kind of that negative space. And that was kind of how that came about. But as far as the Tree and Arches, that photo, really fun for me, just for the fact that it's in Arches National Park in Utah. And everyone goes there to look at arches. And I was I had taken a lot of photos of the arches, and I just really was kind of struggling to find a photo that I felt that I enjoyed. I think I got a couple okay ones, but nothing that really struck me. And on the way out, I actually walked past that tree and kind of looked at it and realized like how the branches were twisted and flowing, and just thought, oh, this would be a cool photo, and snapped the photo and didn't think a whole lot of it. Got home, printed a couple out, and then was like, I think this photo will work really well, with some wood grain on the back, just to kind of get that flow going.
It is nice to have the tree and the wood and to complement each other.
Yeah.
I went to the next slide. It's look to the sky.
Yeah. So this one's a pretty fun one as well. Just for the, I was just riding my bike along in Richmond, and obviously I didn't do the painting on the building. I admired the artist. I actually looked up the artist after I'd taken the photo. Great artist. And yeah, I caught it at the right time when the sun was setting, took the photo, and instantly thought, like, there's going to be so many opportunities with that negative space in the sky where you can just kind of make the, in that particular photo, there's a kind of the swirly wood grain going on. And yeah, it's just, again, just kind of playing with that negative space.
Awesome. And this one, everybody has sold. So you'll have to
Nice.
buy a different piece. And Skyride is next.
Yeah, that's again, at the state fair. Was lucky enough to be there when a thunderstorm rolled through. This was a few years back, and thunderstorm rolled through. Afterwards, you know, all soaking wet, walking around the state fair, stepping on cookies and donuts and whatnot on the ground. And I just, you know, I have my camera with almost all the time, and just happened to kind of look at the sky ride. I believe we were, my friends and I were thinking about going on the sky ride, and just kind of looked over and was like, oh man, this just presents itself so easily. Took the photo. And then later on, when I went to print the photo, just thinking more of what had happened, I kind of thought like, okay, the sky was kind of broken up, and there, you know, it was like thunderstorms came in. So really, this was more of finding that wood piece where it's pretty wavy in the sky, and then breaking it up and just having fun with the wood. Again, just filling that negative space above the sky ride.
And this piece is also sold. And next we have Big Trouble Alley.
All right, this one, technically, I love this photo. I was in San Francisco. A lot of people see this photo and instantly think it's in China, but it's actually San Francisco Chinatown. And it was so fun. I was just out at night, kind of walking through Chinatown, or I should say riding my bike / walking around Chinatown. And I came across this alley, looked down it. It looked very dark and ominous. So I just technically played with the camera for a while. Had a very, very small little tripod that I had set up down on the ground, and took the long exposure, and it just pulled the colors out of that alley. That alley was pitch black when I took that photo. So I really like that photo myself, just for how crisp and clear it came out, sharp, and just with the colors. And then once it went on wood, it just gives it a different mood in general, and it just has a great feel to it. But I have sold a lot of that photo, and almost everyone says the same thing of like, oh, I know right where that is. And I'm like, it's in San Francisco, right? And they're like, oh, it is. So, but yeah, it's a fun photo, and I really enjoy that one.
Awesome. The next one is Rome. Is it Termini waiting?
Yeah. So
the Colosseum on the wood.
Yep. And so the Colosseum's in the background. A trip to Rome. Got to go take the photo of the Colosseum. I had walked around the Colosseum a little bit, and I kind of got to a point where I saw the Termini is the station, the train station. And so I thought, oh, well, it's kind of cool. Again, doing a long exposure. And when I took the photo, I was kind of bummed out because as I was going to take the photo, I hit it's a long exposure, so it's open for at some times up to 5 seconds, maybe a little bit longer, depending on how dark it is, just to get those streaks. And I had looked up and realized that there was a person standing in the crosswalk. If that person moved at all, that would have been blurry, but luckily they were very patient and stood still, and so that photo turned out. And I just like to again, thinking of the Colosseum, it's all broken up, and then so when I found the piece of wood, it was a darker wood. I thought, this is an older piece of wood. It's darker. Completely broke the one side off of it just to give it that feel. And I intentionally broke the side that's also broken in the Coliseum just because I thought it was pretty fun.
Well, that's what I have for slides. I'm so sorry you couldn't see them. Again,
Oh, that's okay.
I apologize. That's one problem I've never had before. Yikes. I'll have to talk to somebody and figure that out.
I'm guessing it's actually at my end.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because everybody else can see them. So sorry. Well, Jay's work will be up through November 13th. Again, if you can't make it during our open hours, please contact me and we'll get you in to see the shows. And Jay, if you could hang around for a little bit and participate in the Q&A afterwards, that would be great. Sure. Awesome. So we're going to move to Bethlehem Academy. I believe we don't have anyone from Bethlehem Academy on here. Bethlehem Academy is our Catholic school in town, and their teacher, Jason Hillsheim, is amazing and inspirational, and he does so much with these kids. You can see the variety of work here on the first slide. They've got everything from paintings to collage to graphite. This one is very striking. This is Cameron Belmont. This is actually a portrait of Billie Eilish done in graphite, and you can see it's super realism. She spoke to us on a Facebook Live from the gallery opening, so if you want to hear more about that piece, you could watch that. That's on the Paradise Center for the Arts Facebook page. This is Justin. I'm sorry, I don't know how to say Justin's last name. Is it Delisha? This is downtown Faribault. And if you go out the front of the Paradise, look across the street, this is what you see. So this piece, of course, we all love at the Paradise. And this one is watercolor and ink on paper. And it's a small piece, but please come and see it. Amazing work from these students. We've got Lindsay Hansen, The Rainfall. This one is acrylic paint. And I know they are always studying the action painters and art history to go along with the work here at Bethlehem Academy. This is Casey Hoffus. Oh, sorry guys if I'm botching your names. This is Earth Day. This is a digitized ink on paper drawing. I'm not sure if it revolves around Earth Day, which I'm assuming, but you know what assuming does. Marcos Ramirez, Into the Unknown. Again, I think studying action painting, probably studying Jackson Pollock, I would imagine. And always nicely framed pieces. And there's 12 artists in this show. I don't have slides for all of them, so please stop down and see them. Bethlehem Academy will be back in the Corey Lane Memorial Krieger Gallery soon. And our Corey Lane Krieger Memorial Gallery is for 18 and under. So anytime you see artists in that gallery, they're 18 and under. We've had young as ages 3. Most of these students in the gallery right now are juniors and seniors in high school. And this show I'm very excited about. This is the Emerging Artist Show, and the artists in this show are ages, I think, 15 to 25. I'm not 100% sure of everybody's ages, but they are all in high school and college. We've got a few of them with us. I believe, let's see, Janelle, you still with us? I saw her on here earlier.
Yes, I'm still here.
Awesome. Janelle, can you tell us a little bit about this piece? And I've got one more slide after this one.
Yeah, so, gosh, where to start? I guess I'm really interested in taking a closer look at the intimate nature art can have. So it's something I'm still kind of trying to hone in on and figure out in my own art, but in this particular one titled Heart of Gold, I wanted to show a close moment and kind of how connection and the search for connection is a very inherently human thing. Yeah, I'm just very interested in ways I can visualize emotion and push for an empathetic response. Then the next one, go to that one. Awesome. And then the second piece, it's titled Control. It's kind of a conversation about my own tendency to overthink and seek perfection. I'm often scared of change and I don't want to fail. So I stick closely to what I know I can, or as it is titled, Control, so what I can control. But as this artist in the photo has said, there's no need to fear at all, to embrace the fall, which I guess is something that I'm working on doing, and trying to branch out or just like push myself and welcome change and spontaneity and mistakes and stuff. So that's what I have to say about those.
And again, I took these two photos, so they don't do the paintings justice. So please stop in and see them. This painting, Janelle, is really small. What size is this?
I think it's like 8 inches by 8 inches, but I might be wrong. I have a bunch of like pre-cut panels, so I never know if they're like the 10 by 10 or the 8 by 8.
I know it's rather small, and I had a hard time taking a photo of it. That's why it's kind of at an angle, because of the glare from the oil paint. And there is a piece we don't have photographed that I highly recommend you come and see this artwork. We just have so many talented, brilliant artists at the Paradise right now. Thank you, Janelle. Anything else you want to tell us?
I think that about sums it up. Thank you for having me at the gallery and everything.
And you are a sophomore at Hamlin?
Yes, I am.
Awesome. Thank you. We'll go to the next artist. Thank you, Janelle. Let's see here. I don't believe Caroline's with us. Caroline Bryce is a freshman at Northfield High School. This is her piece called Porcelain. She was interested in painting a figure with clothing that was wet or underwater. And this is actually, it's not a self-portrait, but it is her in the tub. And a lot of people at the Paradise had all kinds of interesting, I don't know, ideas about this piece or what she meant, but it is simply a painting exercise, which, as I'm a painter, I thought that was fascinating. And here is Cumulus, another Caroline Bryce piece. Just interesting use of color and composition. Very excited to have her work at the Paradise. And she did have one piece that was in the first slide next to Eve. And we will get to Eve soon. Stacy, are you here? I thought I saw you on here.
Yes.
Hi, Stacy, how are you?
I'm good.
Can you tell us a little bit about your work?
Sure, yeah. So these 3 paintings, the next one including, are actually don't really have much symbolic meaning behind them, like my past drawings, but since I don't have much time outside of school with my extracurricular activities and sports and homework, I didn't have much time to create a new piece for this gallery, but the first one I made for one of my friends. She asked me to create an original character, and its theme would be revolved around cookies. So I made a vectorized reference for her character, and later I decided to create a digital drawing portrait of her character that I made her, and that's what I created for her as a gift. And the second one I made just for a health project, but we were just supposed to create a self-portrait of ourselves, and it started out just as a sketch, a really lame sketch, but I decided to go overboard with the details once again, and I thought it kind of looked boring at first, so I just added a donut crown on there to spice it up a bit. And since my BM on my socials are donuts. I just decided to make a filler out of it and share it on there. And the third one, on the next slide, I made for a DMC, which stands for Draw My Character. And the theme for that character was revolved around cherries. So I decided to just do an entry on that and make it semi-chromatic. And this one's also a digital artwork. And my strengths are portraits, so I just decided to make a portrait of that character. And yeah, there's really no deep meaning behind them, but yeah, that's about it.
Well, awesome, Stacy. Thank you for being with us here today. And you go to Faribault High School, right?
Yes.
Okay,
Sophomore at Faribault High School.
awesome. Yeah, so everybody in this show is extremely young, or I guess compared to well, yeah, when I think of young now. So thank you, Stacy.
And thank you.
Yep. And our next artist is Michael Finch. And I see you on here, Michael. Can you tell us a little bit about your work and yourself?
Yes, so I am also a sophomore at Hamlin with Janelle. These pieces kind of revolve around a body of work that I have titled Childish Minds. It is essentially reworking memories from childhood and symbols from childhood, namely pop culture, into these very playful, abstracted shapes. This piece right here looks familiar, was made without the use of a reference, so I relied solely on what I remembered of the Teletubbies from way, way back when, and it kind of results in this very odd abstraction that's very playful, and obviously it looks familiar. And then this piece is called Eve, named for the biblical first woman, of course, but instead of an apple, she holds a light bulb, hinting at technology kind of being the new danger that we are taking on into our lives as humans. Eve also works to profile her audience. The face is inverted and relies on an old illusion. With the light being at a lower angle, the inverted face appears to follow the viewer as it revolves around the piece itself. And then both of these pieces, Looks Familiar and Eve, are made out of recycled materials over steel armatures. And then, of course, Eve has found objects as well.
Eve has gotten a lot of viewers, I think, just to come into the paradise. People see her through the window and they want to come in and see what's going on. And I have to say, as staff, we always are making sure that we turn her light bulb on and off every day. It's kind of like, oh, did you turn, Eve? She just brings such joy to the paradise and demands such a presence. So thank you for having your work at the paradise. And we've got one more emerging artist here, Sean Bagley. And we are so excited to have these young artists work at the paradise. It's just unbelievable. So many young, talented people. Sean, can you tell us about your work?
Yeah. So I make, as you can see here, ceramic pieces, and I focus on making functional ware, but also decorational pieces too. This piece here is a lidded piece that I had made. This is when I had kind of somewhat started making lidded forms and then making the lid. So I make the body of the piece separate to the lid. And then I use a caliper to fit the lid to the body of the piece. And so here you can see that I have texture on it. This particular piece is wood fired, and it's kind of a unique process of the way that I fire my pieces. They're usually, you can tell, what I love about wood firing is that it's very unique and very varied, you get varied results. And so it's kind of when, I mean, you might have heard this before, but out of unloading a kiln can be like Christmas. It also can be a disaster too. There's that part of it, but when you get really good results, it's really a cool experience. And this particular piece, and so occasionally when I make lidded pieces, I have friends that contact me that has, you know, unfortunately had someone that they knew that had passed away. So I have sold lidded pieces as urns from people that I've known and then people that have contacted me. So that there's kind of a really special, you know, connection there that I'm, you know, someone that I know has, that will be affiliated with a piece that I've made. And so there's kind of this feeling that like, well, you know, it's pretty strong and unique. But yeah, so I mainly, if we go on to the next slide, this is more of just, yep. So this piece is more of the functional aspect of the pieces that I make. So this is a picture I've made. And this was kind of when I started making pictures also. And I focused on handles. Kind of something unique about me is that I really love making handles. Any pots with handles is super fun to make. And I really focus on how does that handle feel in the like hand, because I'm making functional ware. How does it function? I'm also looking at how does it look, you know, does it look, does it have things that it looks nice, or, you know, on a countertop or so. So those are things that I look at when I'm making my work. I add decoration to my pieces by adding, like this piece has chattering, and I have tools that I use to kind of, in this process of chipping away the clay, creating that textured surface. So there's kind of that unique part of pottery. There's so much you can do, and I am still in the process of learning. I'm going to Mankato State University, and my major is ceramics. So I've been working on a lot of different pieces and different work, and learning as much as I can while I'm in school, because I look at doing this at a point of doing this full time and trying to make a living at selling my art and possibly even teaching. So.
And all of your work is for sale, correct?
Yes. Yep.
And it's all 100% functional.
Yes. Yep.
Again, I highly recommend coming and seeing Sean's work, everybody's work. It's so different in person. Again, I took photos of Sean's work. Luckily, Michael has submitted wonderful photos of his pieces. But come and see the work in person. Again, the Paradise is open Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, noon to 5, Saturday, 10 to 2, or by appointment. And I just want to quick, before I forget, to thank the Minnesota State Arts Board. These activities are made possible by the voters of Minnesota through a grant from the Minnesota State Arts Board, thanks to a legislative appropriation from the Arts and Cultural Fund. So thank you, Minnesota State Arts Board, and everybody who supports the arts. And at this time, I would like to open up a question and answer if anybody has questions for any of the participating artists. Well, if nobody has questions, you can always contact me. I'm Julie Faulkner. I'm the Visual Arts and Education Director at the Paradise Center for the Arts. It's my email and phone number on the screen here, info@paradisecenterforthearts.org. So if you think of a question, or if you're watching this as a recording and you think of a question for the artist, please send that question to me and I will get a hold of the artist and get the answer for you. I don't know about the other artists here, but I'm a visual artist and I love talking about my work. So if you have questions, let us know. And we are so thankful you can all be here tonight. We did record this and we will be putting it on the Paradise Center for the Arts YouTube page, Facebook, and our website on the visual arts page. Anybody have any questions or any parting words, or any of the artists think of something they didn't say that they want to say?
Well, I want to say thank you so much, Julie, for having me. I'm so glad to be a part of this, the Merging Artists show and the show. So thank you so much.
Oh, well, thank you. And again, like I said, I highly recommend coming and seeing everybody's work in person. And again, if you have any questions, let us know and we will get those answers for you. And there's other events happening downtown and at the Paradise. So you can come and see a show and visit the galleries at the same time. And again, thank you for being here. And if nobody else has anything, I guess we'll wrap up tonight. And I will send the link to all the artists tomorrow. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity. I think it is encouraging to see all these young artists, and I hope our society and culture can help support these young artists as they go forward, because there are times when we kind of worry about where our society is going, but it's encouraging to see all these great young artists.
Yeah. We are very excited to have their work at the Paradise, and everybody's. Everybody has different experiences, and it's exciting to see that. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Have a great night, and we're going to stop recording.